Hello, this is Claus Jensen presenting my 7th video in my series on the Exchange Sacrifice. And this time you're about to watch a Blitz game played in the Tal Memorial Blitz tournament from 2008. By the way, this Blitz event was won by Ivanchuk ahead of Kramnik, and Carlsen was ending in 3rd spot. And in this game we're about to watch Magnus Carlsen playing white, and black is Ruslan Ponomariov. And the game is a Sicilian game, starts off with e4, c5, knight f3, d6, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, knight f6, knight c3, and a6. We have the knight off variation, and with h3, Carlsen chooses a pretty harmless line for black, who should have no problems equalizing here. g6, g4, bishop g7, bishop g2. I think I've seen this system being called the Adams attack, but I'm not quite sure. Ponomariov castles, bishop e3, knight c6, castles, bishop d7, knight d to e2, b5, and Carlsen probably considered a3 here to stop b4 from Ponomariov, but instead Carlsen decided to play f4, which is the normal plan in this system. And b4 came, and knight d5, and knight takes d5, and e takes d5, and I think we can say that Ponomariov is perfectly okay here. He has the minority attack on the queen side. His bishop on d7 can go to b5, it's a nice square, and he can place a rook in the c file, and of course his bishop on the g7 is also very good. So black is perfectly okay here. And after knight a5, Carlsen, he has to deal with the threat on b2. The pawn is hanging right now. And the most natural way to handle with this threat on b2 would be to play bishop d4. Because the idea of exchanging the dark squared bishops in this position is very obvious, but Magnus Carlsen comes up with a brilliant idea. Instead of exchanging bishops, he decides to offer Ponomariov a rook for the bishop on g7. So instead of a bishop d4, he plays the very interesting b3 here. And this is of course the exchange sacrifice, and Ponomariov accepted the exchange, taking the rook on a1, queen takes a1. And now let's have a look at the idea behind this exchange sac. Well, first and foremost, now that black no longer has a bishop on g7, his dark squares around his king has become weak. And Carlsen still has his dark squared bishops, which could be an important attacker. And a nice little side effect of the b3 move is that now Ponomariov's knight on a5 has no squares available, because the white pawns are controlling both c4 and c6, so it has to go b7 and c5 to get back into the game. Ponomariov played rook c8, and then came knight d4, knight b7, and f5. And this f5 move is of course both attacking the black king position, but also opening up for the bishop to h6. And if, for example, knight c5 from Ponomariov here, then bishop h6, and then the best Ponomariov could have done would probably be to give back the exchange, simply leave the rook on f8 and let Carlsen take it if he wants. But he didn't play knight c5, he played f6 instead, and then came f takes, g6, h takes, and queen e1. Queen's transferring to the king side, a5 and queen h4, rook f7, queen h6, now taking advantage of one of the weak dark squares. Rook g7 to protect the pawn on g6, and then g5. And knight c5 now comes, and with the queen on h6, Carlsen would like to get his bishop to d4, pointing down to g7, so he has to move his knight, and he plays knight c6. And now in this position, Rybka suggests queen f8 as the correct move, but in a blitz game it's not easy to defend correctly. And Ponomariov makes a mistake by taking on c6, and the reason for this being a mistake is that now he also has some weak light squares in the center after this bishop is gone. D takes c6, and now, for example, queen f8, then g takes, e takes, and bishop d5, and now we can see that this light squared bishop also has become very strong. So Ponomariov instead plays f5, bishop d4, and both Carlsen's bishops are very strong now. Queen f8, rook e1, and if, for example, rook e8 here, then bishop d5 check, e6, and then c7, and black would be in all kinds of trouble. The queen would soon be overworked, has to take care of the rook, both the rooks, and this would lead to problems. So Ponomariov played e6, and now it seems that Ponomariov has control over things here, but Carlsen found a very nice continuation, and I think you could pause the video and try and find this continuation yourself. So if you would like to practice here, then pause the video. In the game, Carlsen found the beautiful rook takes e6, and after knight takes e6, then bishop d5, pinning the knight to the king, rook e8 to defend the knight, and then c7. And again we have this situation where the black pieces are overworked. King f7, bishop takes g7, and now queen cannot take on g7 because of bishop takes e6 check, and if the rook takes, then c8 queening, and if king takes, then the queen on g7 is hanging. So the black pieces are overworked here. So queen g8 has to be played, and then came bishop d4. Now the theme of the game is no longer a kingside attack. Now it's all about this c7 pawn, which is potentially queening for white. So the forces are quickly brought to the queen side now. King e7, bishop b6, king d7, queen h4, queen g7, queen c4, queen c3, and now comes bishop takes e6 check, rook takes, and then c8 queening, and with a mate on e6 in the next move, Ponomariov resigned the game here. And I think this was a blitz game played at a very high level, and I hope you enjoyed watching Carlsen's very interesting exchange sacrifice idea, and also his very nice rook sack on e6. And I also hope to see you on my blog at klausjensen.com. Bye bye for now.